thirstier for times a day, just because she has for beast husbands. White Tiger General Out Zhao Li Yuan. Cold and aloof snake, fair-skinned, black-hearted mermaid. Every day, her beast husbands kneel by the bed, begging for her favor. But in reality, every one of them wants to kill her, because she takes advantage of her status as the interstellar princess, and finds joy in tormenting beastmen daily. In the future, several beast husbands will turn dark under her cruelty and brutally torture her to death. Meanwhile, Julian, who died in an experiment explosion, just happened to transmigrate into this vicious princess. Thinking of the original host's fate, she panics like hell. But the young Thor kneeling on the ground is even more terrified than her. "Your Highness, please save General Zhao Yi. He was severely injured in battle against the insectoids. His mental sea has fallen into a frenzied state. Only a female's mental soothing can save him." Hearing this, Julian's eyes lit up. This marked the beginning of Evan Zhao's complete descent into darkness. She still had a chance to make amends. "Take me to Evan Zhao." The bunny-eared boy's eyes sparkled with surprise. He quickly led the way. But the moment she stepped into the confinement room where Evan Zhao was held, her calf was tightly wrapped by a serpent's tail. The tail was stained with blood. A horrifying sight. This was Shi Ying, the snake beast husband the original host despised the most. Julian maintained the original host's persona, coldly ordering Shi Ying to let go. But the serpent's tail only coiled tighter. "Evan Zhao's life is hanging by a thread. Are you still not going to spare him? If you don't release him now, don't blame me for being ruthless." Hearing this, Shi Ying let out a long, mocking laugh. "When has Her Highness ever been kind to us? Which part are you planning to cut off this time?" Only then did Julian notice that the other serpent tail was missing a segment, with black blood oozing from the wound. Damn it, she remembered now. At the banquet, the original host saw Shi Ying standing too close to the female lead, and provoked by a few words from her, took out her anger on Shi Ying upon returning. She ordered his snake scales to be plucked for a crystal chandelier, and in a fit of rage, hacked off a part of his tail. Thinking of this, Julian felt her vision darken. Heaven was out to ruin her. Suddenly, the violent banging from the confinement room shattered her rationality. She knew Evan Zhao had completely lost control. There was no time to waste. She shot a sharp glance at the beastmen beside her. "The guards, take Shang back at once." The guards shuddered. They rushed over and dragged the snake beast away. Shi Ying's old injuries had never been treated. After struggling briefly, he was restrained. Julian left a command to send him to the healing pod, then directly scanned her face to enter the room. Inside, Evan Zhao was in a frenzied state. Upon seeing Julian enter, he let out an ear-splitting tiger's roar. Julian nearly dropped dead on the spot. She had no choice but to grit her teeth and slowly approach. But then Evan Zhao suddenly leaped, pinning her to the ground with force, and lunged to bite her. Terrified, Julian trembled uncontrollably. Tears spilled beyond her control. She desperately tried to push the massive tiger away, but the white tiger's fangs drew closer and closer. At the brink of despair, the white tiger's tongue swept across, licking her tears clean. The sudden action made Julian momentarily forget crying and struggling. The white tiger's crimson eyes also grew somewhat dazed. The girl instinctively scratched his chin, petting him as if soothing a kitten, while releasing her psychic energy, helping Evan Zhao channel a gentle aura, giving the man's violent psychic energy a moment of relief. The method proved effective. Julian increased her healing efforts. The red in Evan Zhao's eyes began to fade. His form shifted back from beast to human, falling into unconsciousness. Julian had expended too much psychic energy. Eventually, she too passed out. When Evan Zhao woke up, he saw Julian lying not far away. In the past, she would only beat or scold them. Yet yesterday, she had saved him. Looking at Julian's weakened state, he found himself unable to summon any hatred. Noticing signs of the girl stirring awake, he immediately pretended to still be asleep. Uncertain how to face Julian, the girl opened her eyes and took a moment to gather herself, then got up and headed for the door. She needed to learn more about the original host's past, but accidentally stumbled upon an encrypted file in the smart terminal. The first thing she saw was a red-haired boy with broken wings, bare, twisted wings drooping from his back. A cruel and bloody sight. She trembled as she shut off the terminal. No wonder she died so horribly in the original plot. This is totally deserved. The other party is the prince sent by Fayuxing for a political marriage. How is Clanti supposed to get along peacefully with others now? Maybe she should just pack up and run away. At this moment, the cautious voice of the young Thor came from outside the door. Your Highness, Clanti's condition has worsened. He has now been sent to the medical pod for treatment. Julian took a deep breath. She still decided to try and fix things first. Arriving at the medical pod, Clanti was already awake. The moment he saw her, his eyes filled with disgust and fear. What are you doing here? If I said I was just worried and came to check on you, would you believe me? Ha! Clanti scoffed coldly. He turned his head away, refusing to look at her. Fine, I just came to see if you were dead yet. Hearing this, Clanti whipped his head around to glare at her furiously. I've let Her Highness down. I didn't die. Actually, I came to apologize to you. I was wrong before. I won't do it again. Julian spoke very sincerely, but Clanti forced out a few words through gritted teeth. Do you even remember what you did? You think a simple apology can just wipe the slate clean? Then how about I set you free? You must really want to go home. Little did she know, the moment she said those words, the boy's eyes instantly turned red. You cruel, wicked female. You actually want to kick me out? Let me tell you, that's not happening. Julian didn't understand why he was crying yet refusing to go back. But she didn't know. In this era, if a beastman is driven out by their master, it's the same as a woman being divorced by her husband in ancient times, thrown out like trash. If Clanti gets sent back home, he'll become the shame of the entire planet. Julian saw his aggrieved yet stubborn expression, and felt an odd stirring in her heart. Clanti, I apologize for my earlier actions. The girl softened her voice. I promise I won't bully you again. Hearing this, Clanti felt his anger fade slightly. He snorted coldly, turning his head away to avoid looking at her. He didn't believe a word of it. Julian took a deep breath, then finally stated her reason for coming. Let me see your wings. Instantly, Clanti reacted like a tiger whose tail had been yanked. Get the hell out. I never want to see you again. He knew this vicious female had ulterior motives. Healing him was just another way to toy with him. Seeing his agitation, the girl hurried to soothe him. Hey, don't be mad. You'll end up back in the med pod. Get out. Clanti wasn't listening to a word she said now. Then rest well. I'll come see you tomorrow. Watching her leave without even a glance back, Clanti felt inexplicably angrier. Julian didn't return to her room, but detoured to Shi Ying's place instead. The first thing she saw was a massive purple serpent coiled in a heap. Many of its scales had been torn off, leaving behind small, blackened pits of wounds. Just looking at it made her wince in sympathy. Sorry. The great snake shifted slightly, then fell still again. I'll find a way to treat your injuries. At this moment, the giant snake suddenly opened its eyes, tone dripping with sarcasm. What exactly are you going to treat me with? The med pod can only heal internal and external injuries. It's nowhere near capable of regeneration. I'll find a way to restore you. Shi Ying snorted coldly, unimpressed. He ignored her completely. Regrowing his scales would take at least a year, and his severed tail 3 years, minimum. Not a single word from this vicious female was worth believing. Just give me some time. I'll prove it to you. Shi Ying pretended not to hear her. He closed his eyes and went still again. Julian had no intention of overstaying her welcome either. So she left first. But her promise of treatment was an empty talk. Because her laboratory and cultivation space followed her through the transmigration. As a genius pharmacist, she could handle any potion with ease. She just needed time for experiments. Early the next morning, Julian was struggling with breakfast when the female lead, Alice, arrived with her beast husband for a visit. A cold glint flashed in Julian's eyes. Her cousin was really in a hurry to show kindness. Sure enough, after just a few pleasantries, Alice started stirring trouble. I heard General Evan Zhao is injured. I have a newly developed potion from the Pharmacy Institute. It can relieve his headaches. Only then did Julian remember. The female lead was the direct disciple of the pharmacy professor, the only female allowed into the research institute. In the original story, because of this potion, Evan Zhao felt grateful toward her. Later, the female lead sent many more potions, and Evan Zhao's favorability toward her gradually increased. Julian smiled faintly. Cousin, you're so thoughtful. But General Evan Zhao's injuries are already fine. I'm afraid your item won't be needed. Alice's expression shifted slightly, but quickly returned to normal. I heard the general's injuries are quite severe this time. Dear cousin, no matter how much you dislike General Evan Zhao, you shouldn't act petty at a time like this. If something happens, your parents won't be able to explain it to the marshal. Well done. With just a few words, she pinned such a serious crime on her. Julian sneered inwardly, yet he maintained a smile on his face. Evan Zhao was indeed fine now. But he needed rest and quiet. It wasn't convenient to receive guests. Alice, however, refused to give up. She still wanted to leave her potion behind to curry favor. Julian's smile faded. I'll take care of my beast husband myself. No need for your concern. Or do you think your potion is stronger than my 3S level psychic power? Alice didn't believe it. That Julian would give Evan Zhao psychic soothing. The more he refused to let her see him, the more it proved something was wrong. Having gotten the answer she wanted, she stood up, satisfied, and took her leave. Julian watched her retreating figure, coldness gathering in his eyes. In the original plot, the protagonist's cruelty and malice started spreading from this moment. Evan Zhao's psychic sea collapsed, reducing him to a cripple. This sparked the Empire's outrage. Later, her neural network permissions were hacked, and videos of her tormenting others were leaked. The entire Empire demanded the royal family give an explanation. Her father and mother, to quell public anger, had no choice but to hand her over. But her most urgent task now was to develop a regenerative potion within a month to treat her beast husbands. Before that, she went to check on Evan Zhao's injuries. Your Highness, why have you come? Evan Zhao tried to rise, but the girl stopped him. Naturally, I couldn't rest easy. General, your man didn't respond. He didn't know what attitude to adopt when facing Julian. Don't move around. Let me check you one more time. Evan Zhao obediently lay on the bed, letting Julian examine him. A gentle spiritual force invaded Evan Zhao's mental sea. She found his mental sea still tangled with chaotic black threads. Guiding her spiritual energy, she slowly entangled and smoothed them out. By the time she withdrew her hand, her vision suddenly darkened. Losing balance, she collapsed into Evan Zhao's arms. At this moment, Julian appeared unusually fragile. A mere pinch to her neck, and this wicked princess would no longer be able to torment them. But facing her pale face, a hint of hesitation arose in his heart. In the end, Evan Zhao let out a soft sigh, placed Julian on the bed, and turned to leave. The moment he turned away, Julian quietly opened her eyes. The corners of her lips curled upward. She had won the bet. Evan Zhao's greatest hatred toward her was his indifference during this manic episode. Now that she had saved him, the man probably wouldn't want to kill her anymore. The top priority was to develop the vitality potion. For an entire week after her death, she had stayed in her lab without leaving. Finally, there was a breakthrough this day. Julian didn't rush to give the potion to her beast husband. Instead, she had the rabbit-eared boy fetch over a dozen small animals to conduct experiments in the greenhouse to confirm the potion's safety. Coincidentally, Planty of Liuan adored plants and happened to be relaxing in the greenhouse. He witnessed Julian first tormenting the little white mice until they were covered in wounds, then pouring blue liquid onto them. Watching the small animals writhe and howl in agony, his heart ached with distress, until the day he saw her snap the wing of a swallow. The terror of having his own wings broken rushed back. Clanty could no longer stay still. His eyes bloodshot, he charged forward. "Julian, how can you be so cruel?" Hearing the voice, the girl didn't even look up as she continued her work. Seeing this, he snatched the potion from Julian's hands and smashed it on the ground. "Tormenting them isn't enough. You still want to inject them with this stuff? Are you even human?" Watching the potion she had worked so hard on shatter, Julian trembled with rage. "Get the hell out." Clanty glared at her with bloodshot eyes. In the end, hell left full of anger. Till the experiment is complete. She also got the data she wanted. Suddenly, the light brain received a message. "Your Highness, the Marshal's wife has requested a visit tomorrow. She's asking if it's convenient for you." Hearing this, Julian immediately agreed. The Marshal's wife must be here for Evan Zhao. She had no reason to refuse a mother's request out of concern for her child. She also took the opportunity to send messages to her 3 beast husbands, telling them to come to the main residence for dinner tonight. Afterward, Julian went to the kitchen and began preparing tonight's meal. Most interstellar food is barely edible. She decided to use ancient Earth cooking methods instead. So when Evan Zhao arrived at the main residence, he was immediately drawn in by an unprecedented aroma. When he saw Julian bustling about, for once, he wore a stunned expression. Females are scarce in the interstellar era. The delicate ones need to be spoon-fed even during meals. Not to mention Julian, who's a princess through and through. She probably doesn't even know which way the kitchen door opens. Yet he walked in on his own and started helping. Before long, Clanty and Shi Ying arrived one after another. Shi Ying had returned to her usual aloofness. Clanty, still resentful over the greenhouse incident, was full of grievances toward Julian. The two of them watched Evan Zhao helping in the kitchen. Both were a little surprised. Clanty was the first to speak. "Evan Zhao, what are you doing? After how they treated you before? Have you forgotten all of it?" Evan Zhao's gaze carried a hint of authority. "Clanty, mind your manners in front of Her Highness." The boy wanted to say more, but seeing Evan Zhao's expression, he had no choice but to shut his mouth. "The food will be ready soon. You can wait in the living room." Julian's voice was unusually calm, showing no anger at Clanty's rudeness. The boy snorted, turned, and left the kitchen. Shi Ying glanced at Julian, then followed him out. Soon, all the dishes were prepared. Julian and Evan Zhao carried them to the dining room together. Clanty and Shi Ying were already seated at the table, waiting, both wondering why Julian had suddenly gathered them. "Eat." Julian knew that unless she took the first bite, none of them would dare to start. So she picked up a piece of meat and tasted it first. Seeing this, Evan Zhao carefully took a bite as well. In an instant, his eyes lit up. The taste was even better than he expected. Seeing that Evan Zhao ate without issue, Shi Ying also picked up her chopsticks and started eating. Unexpectedly, the flavor was surprisingly good. Only Clanty refused to eat. Julian didn't indulge him either. "Such fine food. Missing out is your loss." Clanty grew even angrier at Julian's words. But that enticing aroma kept wafting into his nose, making his stomach betray him with a loud growl. He turned his head away, trying hard not to look at the delicious spread. Evan Zhao, observing the two, spoke up to Clanty. "This dinner was painstakingly prepared by the shop. At least have a little." With this opening, Clancy reluctantly picked up his chopsticks, muttering about it being disgusting. Yet his hands moved swiftly. By the end, he had eaten the most. Once they were nearly done, Julian finally revealed the purpose of inviting them that night. "This is a new potion I developed. It's highly effective for wound healing." But Clancy and Shi Ying's expressions darkened. They didn't believe her potion would work at all. Shi Ying phrased it diplomatically. "I don't recall your highness having studied pharmacology." Clancy was blunt. "If you want to poison us, just say so. No need for such elaborate schemes." "Clancy, you will not disrespect the princess." Evan Zhao snapped sharply, afraid he might say something else to anger Julian. Clancy snorted coldly, turned his head away in defiance. Julian remained calm at their reactions, knowing they wouldn't believe easily. He had already asked the young assistant King Luan to bring over the small animals used in the experiment. These animals had originally suffered varying degrees of injuries, but now their wounds had visibly healed. Shi Ying and Evan Zhao were puzzled, but Clancy reacted strongly. Yan Ji's broken wings had fully recovered. The snake, with its tail cut off, had regrown a small section. His face was filled with disbelief. How is this possible? These were clearly the ones you. How could Julian remain composed? "I didn't abuse them. I was only conducting experiments." She glanced at the confused Evan Zhao. The two opened their holographic screens, showing footage of them leaving the greenhouse for experiments. This was their original condition. Shi Ying and Evan Zhao exchanged a look, their eyes equally shocked. Especially Shi Ying, seeing the severed snake tail regrown. His numb heart stirred slightly. He knew full well that under current medical standards, such severe trauma was nearly irreversible. Julian's potion was nothing short of a miracle. The woman observed their mixed expressions and said solemnly, "I apologize for the harm I caused you in the past. The original host nearly got them killed several times. It's time to properly apologize to them. Now she has taken over this body. You have to take responsibility for the original owner's mistakes. Of course, the more important thing is my own little life. I won't bully you guys anymore in the future. To show my apology, you can make one request of me." None of the three spoke. Clearly, they were skeptical of her words. Evan Zhao fell silent for a long while. Only then did he cautiously speak up. "The border conflict hasn't ended. I want to return to the battlefield." "Fine, but you'll have to wait a week these next few days." She deliberately kept news of Evan Zhao's recovery hidden, just to see if the female lead would help her gain fame as in the original plot. Evan Zhao almost thought he'd misheard. The other two were equally incredulous. Right at that moment, the robot butler brought over 3 small animals again. "I'm tired. You can test the effects of the potion on your own." After saying that, he yawned, then went upstairs to rest. The next day, the marshal's wife arrived very early. All because a video of Alice entering and leaving the princess's residence had surfaced on the Star Network. Her expression when entering and leaving was drastically different. Many netizens were speculating whether the young general was truly in bad shape. Seeing the marshal's wife looking anxious but too afraid to ask, Julian immediately guessed it must have been Alice's doing. Without beating around the bush, he spoke directly. "There's no need for you to worry, madam. Evan Zhao's condition has stabilized. He just needs some time to recuperate before making a full recovery. By now, he should already be awake. Why don't you accompany me to visit him?" Hearing this, the marshal's wife was overjoyed and nodded repeatedly. "All the way to the courtyard where Evan Zhao was. The other person is working out in the yard." Hearing footsteps, he warily looked toward the door. When he saw his mother, his expression turned to surprise. His mother had accompanied his father to the border campaign. She must have returned early out of concern for him. The marshal's wife, upon seeing her son, her eyes filled with worry and heartache, seeing the two visibly emotional. With much to say, Julian turned and left, leaving the space for them. Evan Zhao watched her departing figure. A genuine sense of gratitude rose in his heart. Her Highness truly seemed different now. But the girl didn't return. Instead, she headed to Clanty's residence. She knew he was proud and stubborn, and wouldn't obediently take his medicine. She must heal them within a month. Early next month is the day when other affiliated planets come to present their tributes. At that time, all the beast husbands will be required to attend. If they are discovered to be injured, the envoys will surely exploit this to criticize. In the original story, several were severely injured and didn't participate. This banquet already sparked heated discussions. Later, videos of her torturing others were exposed. The envoys strongly protested, demanding that their planet, Kalen, give an explanation. Under pressure from all sides, her father and mother had no choice but to hand her over to quell the public outrage. And this decision undoubtedly sealed her tragic fate of a miserable death. This time, she must not repeat the original owner's mistakes. Moments later, she arrived at Clanty's room. Upon seeing her arrival, the young man frowned, his tone unfriendly. "What are you doing here?" Just one look at his appearance told Julian that he hadn't taken his medicine. She patiently advised, "Clanty, you should know better. Take your medicine properly, so you can recover faster." But the young man refused to listen. "I don't want your medicine, you evil female. You tortured us before. Don't act all fake now." Seeing his stubbornness, Julian's expression darkened. She directly ordered the robot beside her to restrain him. The robot moved swiftly, pinning Clanty firmly in place. The young man struggled furiously, trying to break free from the robot's grip. But the robot's strength was immense, rendering his resistance utterly useless. Julian pulled out a syringe from her storage space, and without hesitation, injected it into his arm. After administering the medicine, she had the robot strip off his clothes, preparing to treat his wings. Clanty resisted in every way possible, without his wings extended. Applying the medicine was impossible. Left with no choice, she used her psychic energy to force his submission. The young man glared at her with hatred, but under the overwhelming psychic pressure, he had no choice but to comply. Meeting his furious gaze, Julian took out a fist-sized glass bottle and began applying the medicine to his wings. Now bare and stripped of feathers, Clanty's face was filled with humiliation. He struggled violently once again. "Want to curse, but my mouth is muffled by a robot. Can only let out muffled whimpers." After applying the medicine, Julian looks at Clanty, his tone serious. "Clanty, doing this for your own good. Hope you recover soon. Don't play games with your health. No one will care." After saying this, she turns and leaves. The room is left with Clanty seething in anger. He silently vows, once he gets the chance, he'll make Julian pay. He hasn't figured out how to take revenge on this vicious female yet. A wave of pain hits him. The boy forces himself not to collapse. Struggling to move to the bed, he slowly sits down. At that moment, the room door suddenly swings open. Julian returns once more. But before entering, he poked his head in. Seeing Clanty in pain, she was slightly startled. Hastily, she said, I forgot to tell you earlier. This medicine scram." Clanty endured the pain, forcing out a single word with difficulty. "I know you're in a lot of pain right now. That's exactly what I wanted to say. This medicine will sting a bit when applied." She had added a potent ingredient to speed up healing, but the process wouldn't be pleasant. After saying this, she pulled the door shut and bolted. To avoid favoritism, she naturally treated everyone equally. Compared to Clanty, whose wings were broken and feathers plucked, Shi Ying's injuries were far more severe. Soon, her figure appeared in Shi Ying's courtyard. The man was examining an empty vial closely. Before being sent here for the arranged marriage, he had been a student at their galaxy's pharmaceutical academy. He had some knowledge of medicine. He knew the potion Julian gave them was a healing tonic. and its purity seemed better than what was available on the market. That very night, he injected it directly. But his injuries were too severe, so the effects weren't very noticeable. At this moment, he sat by the window, hearing movement, and raised his eyes to look at Julian. His gaze held a trace of confusion and wariness. Julian stepped forward, trying to force a natural smile. "How are you feeling? Has the medicine helped at all?" "Thanks to your highness's kindness. No longer deeply in love." His tone was distant, laced with the hint of mockery. The pain he once endured filled him with distrust toward Julian. Julian naturally detected the mockery in his tone. The original host had hurt them too deeply. It was only normal not to trust her words easily. "This is today's dose of medicine. Let me help you with the injection." Shi Ying watched as Julian approached closer. A strange emotion welled up in his heart. Having lacked love since childhood, he craved it desperately. When he learned the princess of the Kalan Empire had taken a liking to him, he had once been joyful and hopeful. Yet now, the one who had tormented him into this state was pretending to care for him. "Why?" Julian paused slightly, then forced a guilty smile. "I know I hurt you in the past. The damage is done. I won't deny it. Right now, I just want to help you heal properly. If you don't believe me, I can swear to the beast god. From now on, I won't harm you." Shi Ying fell silent for a moment, then gave a slight nod, though not entirely convinced. He seemed to have no other choice. Julian watched Shi Ying nod and felt a faint relief in her heart. She carefully opened the medicine bottle, took out a syringe and injected Shi Ying. Once finished, she prepared to leave. But Shi Ying suddenly spoke. "Can you really promise never to harm me again?" Julian stopped and turned around, meeting Shi Ying's eyes with determination. "I, Julian, swear to the beast god that I will never harm Shi Ying again. This world does have a beast god. Traditionally, only beastmen swear to the beast god. No female would ever risk making such an oath for a beastman. In their minds, if one beastman is gone, there are countless others waiting for their favor." Shi Ying looked into Julian's eyes. The flicker of doubt in his heart grew stronger. He didn't know if he should believe her, but he yearned for that faint possibility of warmth. For several days in a row, Julian delivered the medicine on time each day, checking on Shi Ying's recovery progress. Shi Ying's wounds gradually improved. His tail had regrown. Little by little, Shi Ying's guard against Julian began to loosen. He didn't know when would fully recover. Will Julian still treat him this way? He started actively talking to the girl. Julian learned that he had considerable knowledge about medicine. She would occasionally chat with him about pharmaceutical topics. Of course, she didn't forget to apply medicine to Clanty either. Meanwhile, Clanty looked at the pale yellow down growing on his wings and felt a surge of complicated emotions. On one hand, he was delighted by the improvement in his injuries. On the other hand, he grew even more conflicted about Julian's attitude. He began to wonder. The medicine Julian used on him was indeed effective. Could she genuinely have his best interests at heart? Yet the past torment made it hard for him to let go easily. Clanty struggled alone in the room for a long time. Anger and conflict churned endlessly in his heart. If she apologized to him again today, he might reluctantly forgive her. But he waited in his room all day, and that wretched female never showed up. It wasn't until the next evening that he saw her again. He had even prepared to cooperate while she treated his wounds. But the moment that wretched female arrived, she immediately had the robot restrain him and injected the medicine directly. This medicine would cause temporary numbness, but the effect on taste wouldn't last long. No need to panic. Clanty snorted coldly and turned his head away, refusing to acknowledge her. Julian wasn't angry either, just quietly walked over to examine his wings. "You're recovering better than I expected. In a few more days, you'll be fully healed." Clanty's heart stirred slightly, but his tone remained stubborn. "Stop pretending to be kind. I won't thank you. Julian smiled faintly. I don't need your gratitude. Just don't turn dark and take it out on me. As the days passed, Clanty's injuries gradually healed. His wings regrew their full plumage, and his opinion of Julian slowly began to shift. That wretched female seemed to have genuinely changed for the better, since Evan Zhao still hadn't made an appearance, and Julian had blocked all news of him. The rumors outside grew wilder. People speculated endlessly. Had his spiritual consciousness already been destroyed? Watching the online mob hurling abuse at her, the girl smiled silently. She had the first group of people who spread the rumors dug out. Each was meticulously recorded. Slandering and insulting females without cause was punishable by law, let alone the fact that she was a princess of the nation. Upon learning the rumors originated from the female lead's admirers, Julian wasn't the least bit surprised. From the moment the female lead showed up at her door, she had anticipated this move. Too bad she was about to be disappointed. After several days of recuperation, Evan Zhao's body had returned to peak condition. With only a month left before the Zerg army's retreat, it was time for Evan Zhao to reappear in the public eye. King Luan went to summon Evan Zhao. No words could match the of Evan Zhao appearing on the battlefield in person. King Luan accepted the order and left. Before long, Evan Zhao was brought before Julian. Evan Zhao stood tall with a resolute gaze. There was no trace of him having suffered severe injuries. I presume you've seen the rumors circulating outside. This princess doesn't need you to step forward and clarify anything. What I promised you shall now be fulfilled. The battleship is ready. You may depart at any time. Evan Zhao frowned slightly, as if he didn't understand her intentions. In the past, anyone who dared speak of her like that would have been dealt with long ago. How does the princess plan to handle the online? Compared to these trivial matters, fighting on the battlefield against thee is what you should be doing. Julian's lips curled slightly, allowing Evan Zhao to quietly reach the border. At the critical moment, his appearance not only dispels the rumors effortlessly, but also delivers a fatal blow to the Zerg army. Evan Zhao fell silent for a moment, then nodded solemnly. Your Highness, rest assured. Evan Zhao will not fail the mission. Julian thought for a moment, still handed him the item in her hand. This is a serum I developed, specifically targeting Zerg venom. If you're accidentally injured, apply the liquid to the wound. Though it can't neutralize the poison, it can suppress the toxin's spread and won't harm spiritual energy. Evan Zhao's previously calm eyes turned shocked. Is your Highness speaking the truth? The damage Zerg venom inflicts on their beastmen's spiritual energy, he knew it all too well. If this truly can suppress the toxin spread, the casualties among beastmen warriors would be reduced by more than half. I wouldn't joke about something like this. But time was tight. And this is all I could produce. With a casual wave of her hand, over 50 glass bottles, the size of fists, appeared on the table. Evan Zhao stared at the 50-plus bottles of serum. A surge of gratitude welled in his heart. He solemnly stored them in his space button, his eyes filled with resolve. Your Highness's kindness, Evan Zhao will never forget. If I return alive, I will repay you with my life. The girl gave a slight nod. I await your triumphant return. The man gave her a deep, meaningful look. Wait for him to quietly arrive at the border. The video of the heroic slaying of Konghuang was sent back to the Earth's core. All netizens fell silent. Julian was having a meal with his father, the king and mother, the queen in the palace at this moment. Female lead Alice, intentionally bringing it up. Online public opinion about Julian refusing to save someone. His Majesty and the Queen were both somewhat surprised. They had long known about Evan Zhao's recovery and his departure to the battlefield. Alice gets along so well with her own baby. Actually didn't know. My cousin also thinks him this kind of person. Julian's gaze revealed a hint of coldness. Alice, you should know what kind of person I am. The female lead showed a hint of grievance. When it comes to everything, I don't want to get involved. Believe those rumors. The internet is buzzing with rumors. I was misled for a moment. If I remember correctly, I told you when you came to visit. Evan Zhao has already been calmed down by me. What do you mean by bringing this up now? His Majesty and the Queen exchanged a glance. The conversation between the two revealed some clues. The look in Alice's eyes wasn't as gentle anymore. Alice, don't be so easily misled by rumors in the future. We must trust our own judgment. Also have to trust the people around you. The Queen's voice carried a rare sternness. Alice nodded in shame. Mom, no, I was wrong. From now on, I will definitely be more careful. She apologized to Julian again. Sorry. It's my cousin's fault. Shouldn't have doubted you. Although they say they know they're wrong. But the jealousy in his heart burned and brighter. She looked at Julian's confident and composed demeanor. The resentment in my heart grows stronger and stronger. Julian couldn't be bothered to watch her act. I also know about years of doting. This cheap mom won't do anything to the female lead because of this. Head down, focused on eating. At this moment, he hurriedly walked in, presenting a communicator. His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen, and Her Royal Highness the Princess. General Evan Zhaoslays the Chong Emperor. The video just got transmitted back to the Earth's core. Now, the entire underground world is in an uproar. Julian took the communicator. Watching Evan Zhao's heroic figure in the video, the corners of Themith curl up slightly. Alice is unbelievable. Evan Zhao is really fine. Julian really treated him. Seeing Evan Zhao's heroic figure, going crazy deep down inside. Evan Zhao is the Onlyon in the Kalan Empire. A beastman with 3S level psychic power. What right does Julian have? Why should she get to pickle the good stuff first? As the video spread, the wind on the internet changed direction in an instant, and those who had spread the rumors began to panic. They are well aware of the punishment they are about to face. Julian watched the shift in the situation, showed a satisfied smile. DM Protection Alliance. It's time for Pioplito get to work. Soon, those who spread the rumors all received subpoenas. As the investigation progressed, finally tracked down Theon who started the rumor. The person next to Alice. Seeing my uncle and aunt's attitude changed drastically, Alice started going out of her way to please the two of them. Julian didn't pay much attention. After all, the female lead isn't so easy to take down. As long as it can drive a wedge between her and her parents, that's fine. Recently, she's been obsessed with gardening. Looking at the feed full of green checkmarks, she's in a great mood. Have the robot deliver some to Shi Ying and Clanty. It's my first time meeting such fresh greens. Clanty went straight for a raw bite without hesitation. Because interstellar plants are difficult to survive. The number of plants is decreasing day by day. Though puzzled about where this food came from. But they tacitly didn't ask. Wait until the fruits are delivered like this later. Clanty was so shocked that his jaw dropped. This era. Fruit is an extremely serious thing. Only females would buy it. Skinny people can't bear to eat. He was never well liked on Flying Fish Star to begin with. Don't even mention something as luxurious as fruit. The food we eat is all leftovers. I've only had that fruitance at a royal banquet. The taste is still fresh in my memory to this day. Now, looking at a basket full of different kinds of fruits, his heart was filled with joy and surprise. He has always been clear about what he loves and who he hates. Once he harbored a towards Julian. But ever since the girl healed his wounds, the hatred then dissipated like smoke, leaving no trace behind. But in my heart, I was overjoyed. Proud as he is, still won't stop talking. Tough. Hey Emph, at least Shestel has some conscience. And Shi Ying happens to be the complete opposite of him. He appears indifferent to everything. Actually, I crave attention more than anyone else. When receiving the fruit sent by the girl, A flicker of surprise flashed in his eyes. Thank His Highness for me. The next few days. The three of them haven't met in person yet. Julian makes Therabot do it every day. Send them some different fruits and vegetables to try. That day, Julian was at the stone table in his courtyard. Found a purple crystal pendant. She was so beautiful that she could trust picking it up to take a look. The tip of his nose was filled with the scent unique to Shi Ying. She was stunned for a long time. This is Shi Ying's heart-protecting scale. The snake clan's heart-protecting scala cannot be taken unless willingly given. Others cannot pull it out for you. The thing in my hand suddenly felt too hot to handle. She was well versed in the books of the beast world. I totally understand the real value of this thing. Shi Ying is trying to woo her. This is so sudden. Thinking about Shi Ying's cycle coming up. Her mind was in complete chaos. But then I thought again. He didn't explicitly say it was for her. What if they accidentally dropped it? Then it'll be year-round embarrassment. Let's pretend we didn't know for now. Thinking this, she turned around with the pendant and went back inside. And she didn't notice. On the branch in the corner, a purple snake the size of a thumb was coiled up. She went back to Harum, holding the pendant, quietly left. But the girl went back inside. Looking at the pendant on the table, the image of Shi Ying in her usual state involuntarily surfaced in my mind. Damn, she's really hungry. Not afraid of stuffing Jerjulf to death. For several days in a row, she tried her best not to think about matters of protecting her heart. And Shi Ying didn't make any move either. As if she really misunderstood. That day, Julian was digging in the backyard, planning to grow some fruits and vegetables in the manor to keep up appearances. A voice suddenly sounded beside me. What is this? It's Clanty. The girl kindly explained. Sweet potatoes are really delicious. You'll find out when the time comes. The emperor heard it. Instinctively wanted to reply with a retort. But thinking of that delicious fruit I ate yesterday, pouted. Changed the subject. Are you sure this is how it's planted? Neither the leaves nor the roots are left. How to live is uncertain. Just planting for fun. Even if I don't understand it. But he still unconsciously wake over to Julian's side. Help tidy up the land. Neither of them noticed the figure not far behind them. Silently standing Shi Ying. I don't know how long you've been watching. Until I saw. The two of them moved closer and closer to each other. He just stepped forward. Clanty had sensed Shang's presence early on. It's no surprise to see him coming. Just being disturbed. I feel a bit upset. Shi Ying didn't evaluate at Clanty. Walked straight up to Julian's side. Quietly started to help. The girl was a bit surprised. How did you get here? Shi Ying glanced at her. He quickly lowered his head and went back to work. Just lightly hummed in agreement. After a while, headed, just passing by. Clanty let out a light scoff. But the two of them started chatting idly, their conversation meandering without much purpose. I feel a bit upset inside. The look directed at Shi Ying grew increasingly unfriendly. After that, Julian told Shi Ying what to do. He rushed to do it first. Julian gave him a somewhat amused glance. Clanty, if you keep acting like this, why do you always steal Shi Ying's work? Hey I'm just gonna auto him like this. Shi Ying looked up. A bit puzzled. Why did Clanty suddenly become so hostile towards him? Still fooling around like this. Watching the two of them chasing at other around the yard. An inexplicable irritation welled up in his heart. He didn't understand why he felt this way. Just want to leave as soon as possible. This place made him feel a bit uncomfortable. Julian caught a glimpse of Shi Ying's retreating figure out of the corner of his eye. Slightly taken aback, without much thought, I averted my gaze. Looking at the fruits of my labor, she showed a satisfied smile. Let's go, I'll treat you to a meal. Clanty said he didn't give a damn. His footwork is faster than anyone else's. Shi Ying returned to her place. I've been feeling restless all along. He gazed at the gradually darkening sky outside the window. The image of Julian and Klanta together pops up in my mind. Will they come tonight? Xiying didn't Dareto think any further. He just felt a wave of irritation in his heart. Finally transforming into a beast, he slid into the bathtub filled with ice. But even so, Julian's face still lingers in my mind. He got up and scratched his head in frustration. Even he, slow as Hugh is, had guessed it. This is a sign of being in heat. While there's still reason left, he wants to find a Placido tough it out on his own, but couldn't control his emotions. So Julian, who was just about to go to sleep, suddenly heard a knock on the door. Doubt opened the door and saw Xiying standing right there. Xiying, it's so late already. What's up? The man's eyes revealed struggle and confusion. But thinking about how she took his protective charm. I am also her side husband. It's normal for her to have delusions about him. His hands clenched involuntarily as he called out. I could tell something was off with his voice, and the faint, lingering fragrance surrounding her. Julian was startled. This is Xiying going into heat earlier than expected. She took a deep breath. Try to keep yourself calm. Xiying, calm down first. Let's think of a way. But the other party was already on the verge of losing their mind. Feeling the sudden chill on the lips, Julian's mind went completely blank. Instinctively wanted to push him away. But my body felt as my feet were frozen in place. And Xiying's legs had unknowingly turned into a snake's tail, holding her tightly in his arms, just as she was about to lose herself too. Footsteps could be heard outside the door. Your Highness, what happened? It turns out King Luan heard the commotion and rushed over. As soon as I stepped inside, I was stunned by the sight before me and froze in place. This provoked a murderous glint in Xiying's eyes. He suddenly swung his serpent tail and flung King Luan away. The door of Thebrethel was closed again. Julian stopped struggling. Xiying's eyes flickered with surprise. Xiying, don't be afraid. I'll always be by your side. Her voice seemed to possess a magical power. It instantly put Shang's heart at ease. The snake's tail slowly disappeared, regained human form. But the next moment, my neck hurts. He widened his eyes in shock and clutched his neck, eyes filled with disbelief and hurt. Your Highness, why? Julian put the empty potion bottle back into his storage space. A trace of pity flashed through his eyes. But she doesn't like being forced. Xiying's body started to sway. Consciousness is slowly fading away. Seeing this girl about to, he gently placed it on the ground. Who would have thought it'd only take a few minutes? Xiying actually started to wake up. A stronger fever than before hits. Julian was the first to notice something was off about him. She hurried to check the medication she had injected earlier. In that instant, I wish Hetty could just drop dead. Turns out she mistook the anesthetic for the unspeakable plan. Looking at Xiying's eyes, red as if dripping with blood, she was as frantic as an ant on a hot pan. There's no antidote for this. Xiying's rationality was under the influence of the drugs. Completely lost, he recklessly lunged at Julian. At the critical moment, a red figure flew in through the window. The broad wings gave a powerful flap. Separate Xiying and Julian. Julian stared at the enormous beautiful kite before his eyes. Surprised, eyes widened in shock. She had never seen such a massive and beautiful iris before. The giant Liuan turned its head around. His eyes seemed to carry a hint of concern and nervousness. Clanty flapped its wings without responding. Turn around and face Ying directly. Ying, are you out of your mind? How dare you speak to a woman like that? Not afraid of her pulling off his snake scales again, either. Xiying's eyes were bloodshot at this moment. The effects of the drug gradually eroded his sanity. He lunged at Julian again. Clanty quickly flapped his wings, tangled up with Xiying. The two instantly started grappling with each other. The room instantly descended into chaos. The furniture was knocked all over the place by them. Suddenly, Xiying turned sideways. He kicked Clanty right in the stomach. The young man slammed heavily into the metal wall. Julian quickly stepped in front of Clanty in a panic. Enough of Shi Ying, stop fighting already. Shi Ying saw Julian. A hint of confusion surfaced in his eyes. Your Highness, step aside for me. I can't control myself. Your Highness, I really don't feel well at all. His voice carried a hint of pleading. Listening to Julian filled his heart with unbearable sorrow. Clanty hesitated for a moment as he looked at them. Enduring the bitterness, finally spoke up. This can't go on. About Shi Ying's body. Not a bad girl. Just accept Shi Ying already. Julian listened to the young man's words. My heart skipped a beat. She didn't expect these words to come from Clanty's mouth. Who can understand that feeling? These two are botherside husbands. Shi Ying knew Shez asked for too much, but still couldn't control the longing in my heart. Your Highness need not be troubled. It was Shi Ying wouldn't finish speaking. A trickle of blood seeped from the corner of his mouth. The body is also on the verge of collapse. Julian let out a cry of surprise, instinctively reassured it to steady him. The originally cold body was now unusually burning hot. The girl took a deep breath. Try to calm yourself down. She slowly raised her hand and wrapped it around the other person's waist. It made the other person's body shudder violently. She looked up with a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Clanty watched the two of them embracing each other, suppressing the discomfort in my heart. Turned and walked away. No matter what. For Shi Ying at this moment, Julian is willing to help him. Is the best ending. The next day, Julian rubbed his wrist. I feel like my hands are about to give out. But seeing Shang's sleeping face, my cheeks couldn't help but burn. A soft spot in my heart. At this very moment, a slightly urgent voice of Kinglin came from outside the door. Your Highness Leawu has returned. Waiting outside the door to see you. Julian ran it through his mind. It just occurred to me that Liu Wu Waste, the original host's personal shadow guard, a while back, sent to capture the most beautiful mermaid of the merfolk. At the thought of this, Julian froze. Liu Wu is back. That supposedly two-faced little mermaid got caught and brought back too. She came to the living room. Try to calm yourself down. Liu Wu quickly bowed when he saw her. Julian nodded. Good job, mermaid ORC. Your Highness. Right outside. However, the mermaid was severely injured during the capture. We've done our best to save them. But the situation still isn't very optimistic. Julian wasn't too surprised by this. In the original book, The Mermaid Prince Ryan, he was also severely injured due to being schemed against by his own brother. Only then would Liu Wu catch it. The original host heard that the mermaid tribe is a beastman even more beautiful than her. Just want to see how good it really is. And was immediately telecaught and brought back. Yet after capturing them, they subjected them to endless torment. In the end, the mermaid used bewitching magic to escape. The female lead picked him up along the way. Became one of her beast husbands. After a moment of contemplation, take me to see. Liu Wu responded, taking Julian to the place where the mermaid prince was being kept. There Ryan lay quietly. The beautiful fishtail is covered in scars. The breath was so faint it seemed like it could vanish at any moment. Julian walked forward, squatting next to Ryan. Start checking his injuries. The other person's injuries were more severe than she had imagined. She took out a healing potion from her space and injected it into him. Order King Luan to send him to Themid Bay to treat his external injuries. Arrange a courtyard with a pond for him again. After giving the orders, he took Liu Wu back to rest. Liu Wu as the personal bodyguard. The room next to hers. Shi Ying came out when she heard the noise. Just saw Julian bringing an unfamiliar ORC up. My whole heart feels terrible. But he didn't show it. Your Highness, rest early. Liu Wu bowed respectfully. Julian grunted in agreement. Give her a couple of days off to rest properly. But as soon as she entered the room, Shi Ying suddenly pinned him against the wall. He arrogantly took the seat. But just as the atmosphere was heating up, Julian suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head. The original host's memories came flooding in. That was the original Hostin Shi Ying's wedding night. She came full of anticipation. The man, however, looked indifferent. From the start, she thought it was just his nature. But no matter what she did later, the other party still showed no response. In a fit of rage, the original host took out the potion and injected him with it. But the result remains the same. The male lead was completely furious, lost his temper and gave Shi Ying a beating. And the other party didn't resist. No explanation was given for this memory. It sent Julian reeling. She slowly pushed open Shi Ying, covering his head with both hands. Painful frown. Seeing her in such agony, Shi Ying panicked. "Your Highness, what's wrong with you?" The original host's memories kept tormenting her. First Shi Ying, then Evan Zhao. Is Clanty like this too? So this is the real reason why the original owner kept abusing them. As the wife and head of the household, even my own beast husband looks down on me. Not even reacting to her at all. This is the biggest insult to a female. She is also a noble princess. How can I stand this kind of humiliation? And these people cannot be divorced. Occupying the titleaf her beastly husband. But unwilling to serve oneself. The resentment in my heart has nowhere to vent. There's another Alice who keeps stirring up trouble from time to time. She could only assert her dominance by tormenting them. Facing Shi Ying's worried gaze, Julian couldn't figure out what attitude to adopt when facing him. "Shi Ying, you go back first." When a man hears this, the color drained from his face. "Your Highness, did he do something wrong? Why are you trying to kick me out?" His voice trembled. With barely concealed unease, Julian looked at Shang's appearance. "I also feel a bit sorry in my heart." But at this moment, her mind was in Shaosand. She really didn't want to face him. "I'm tired and want to rest." Shi Ying suppressed the sorrow in her heart. "Good night, Your Highness. Have a good rest. I'll wait for you to finish speaking." Shi Ying slowly turned around. He left the room with heavy footsteps. Julian watched Shi Ying's retreating figure disappear into the distance. Mixed feelings. Send someone to investigate reason immediately. The next day, Julian still didn't want to face Clanty and Shi Ying. Early in the morning, they appeared in the courtyard where Ryan was. As soon as I walked in, I saw the mermaid lying by the pool. It's impossible to send the person back now. But she would never let Ryan have a chance to get close to the female lead, thus becoming the Roy's support. He is the future mermaid king, ruling over the entire jellyfish star. Either serve her or else. Either Ryan in the pool, hearing faint footsteps, slowly raised his or her head. The confusion and wariness in his eyes vanished in an instant, turned into helplessness and confusion. Even with mental preparation, Julian was still shocked by the divine words that defied the heavens. It took a moment to snap out of it. "Are you feeling better?" Ryan answered in a low voice. "Much better. Thanks for that pitiful look. It makes one shirt ache with pity." Julian was secretly on guard. She must not be fooled by this pretty boy's appearance. "Aren't you the mermaid from the planet Jellyfish? How did you get so badly hurt?" The mermaid tribe is the strongest in the ocean. Her asking this went out of place. A pained look flashed in Ryan's eyes. "I am the only bloodline of the Mermaid King, Ryan." Few months ago, there was a sudden change in the sea tribe. All my family members died in that incident. Julian tutted in his heart. Isn't that right? Those few family members who stabbed him all ended up dead by his hands. "Thank you, sister, for saving my life. If it weren't for my sister, Ryan might have our Dagon to meet the beast god. He was already unconscious when he was caught. Didn't know this group of people was going after him." Julian was also happy to let him misunderstand. "This is the Kalen Empire. I am the royal princess. Julian saving you this time was purely accidental. My caravan just happened to go to Jellyfish Star to exchange supplies. I found you unconscious by the shore and brought it back. This is all thanks to the garden owner for keeping a low profile, using the excuse of exchanging aquatic goods with the caravan to go fishing. Ryan was shocked to her about her identity. Once again, I thank you with a trembling voice. Thank you, sister princess, for saving my life. Ryan has no way to repay you. Ryan doesn't dare hope to repay with his own hand in marriage. If sister doesn't mind, let Ryan stay to serve his sister. The green tea talk left Julian speechless and a bit annoyed, seeing that the other person's wound had not yet healed. Turn around and fetch medicine for treatment. Come up. Let me apply the medicine for you first. She had him sit by the poolside. Start applying the medicine on him. Ryan let her apply it, however, she wanted that well-behaved look. If not for Julian already knowing his true nature, I'm afraid I might really be fooled by him. Julian was applying medicine to him, while mentally calculating how to deal with him, to avoid running in Tosh, Ying, and Clanty. After that, Julian spent every day resting and conducting experiments. On the way to see Ryan, day by day passed. Ryan is gradually recovering as well. The time for his escape plot is almost here. She's determined to see for herself. Will the plot follow the original book's trajectory? It's just these past couple of days, the frequency of her absent-mindedness noticeably increased. You've also noticed that she has something on her mind. Her eyes showed just the right amount of heartache. Sis, if my existence, it affected your relationship with the beastmen. Sister, you don't have to force yourself. Ryan will leave on his own. Julian was slightly taken aback. He immediately frowned and started overthinking. What matters most is that you take good care of your health. She knew she couldn't keep going like this, avoiding meeting with Clanty and Shi Ying. But every time I think of those memories, a strange sense of discomfort welled up in my heart. Sister Key has always been by my side. The brothers seem unhappy. Sis, why don't you go take a look? Julian listened to what Ryan said. A slight stir in the heart. She really hasn't spent quality time with them for several days. In the end, I decided to go and comfort Clanty and Shi Ying. Ryan watched her figure disappear into the distance. The deep blue eyes narrowed slightly. He actually just left like that. It seems those two people are quite important to her. Along the way, Julian's mood was particularly peculiar, though I wanted to figure out what was going on. But the word stuck in my throat. How am I supposed to ask this? He's no good, or is she no good? Just as she was in deep distress, the investigators finally brought back the results. It turns out that after thorough investigation, the female lead tampered with original owner's dress. She took the opportunity to help straighten the dress. Secretly up there, a very special kind-of medicine was applied. Not only that, the female lead also took advantage of her identity as a pharmacist, drugged them during their premarital checkup. These two medications must never come into contact with each other. A peculiar chemical reaction will occur. The female put on that medicine-laced garment. After putting on the dress, the temper becomes extremely irritable and quick to anger. And the male, they will fall into a temporary state of sensory deprivation. Not the slightest interest in anything around. Julian listened. The heart is in turmoil. She never expected the female to be so sinister and cunning. It's just, why did she do that? Is it just because of jealousy towards the original owner's status? When she arrived at Shi Ying's place, I found Clanty and Shang sitting in the yard. A pale face. A calm face. What's going on here? Julian asked softly. Hearing this, Clanty raised his head with a sarcastic tone. Yo, isn't this Her Highness the Princess? Got some free tomato think of us? Why aren't you keeping your little mermaid company today? Shi Ying didn't say anything. His eyes, however, betrayed a wounded expression. Julian was outrageous to his attitude. Put on a smiling face. He slowly walked up to the two of them. I didn't mean to near you guys. I've been a bit busy lately. Clanty let out a light scoff. Busy? You're clearly bewitched by that little mermaid. Busy building a relationship with him. Clanty grew angrier the more he thought about it. This bad bitch seems afraid the might hurt the merman. There were actually over a dozen guards stationed all around. You care so much, yet still want to deceive them. Julian took a deep breath. Clanty has such a short temper. She really wanted to punch him a few times to shut him up. She turned her head to look at Shi Ying. His eyes were filled with apology and concern. Shi Ying, don't listen to his nonsense. You are the most important people to me. He's just a patient. Clanty snorted coldly. Sounds good. Who knows what's really going on in your mind? If you really care, how could they just leave Shang alone when she's still in heat? I went to find him, you've pretended not to see me. Her words. Clanty doesn't dare believe a single word anymore. Julian knew. He didn't explain. Clanty will keep harping on this issue. Since the female lead wants to see them turn against each other, she insists on flaunting their love in her face. Clanty, you shut up first. Ryan was seriously injured. If not treated promptly, there will be a risk to life. I've just been treating him these past few days. Shi Ying slightly raised her eyes. Why is your highness avoiding us? Hearing this, Julian crouched down. He held Shi Ying's hand and placed a kiss on the back of it. I know my carelessness hurt your feelings. I promise I won't be like this again. Shi Ying's cheeks instantly flushed with a hint of crimson. He slightly lowered his head. I didn't dare to look Julian in the eye. Clanty saw this. The dissatisfaction in me heart grows stronger. He let out a heavy snort, opened his or her mouth. Wants to say something. Afraid of bringing shame upon myself. Finally, he shut his mouth resentfully. Clanty, what's with that look on your face? You don't believe me? Julian was amused by his sunder little expression, but still deliberately put on a stern face to ask. I don't even know what did it for that mermaid, leaving us out in the cold. Now, you think of trying to appease us. Only a fool would believe you. Fool. Shi Ying was first to take the hit. Julian stood up and walked toward the boy. Such an adorable little Brahmini kite. How could this princess possibly overlook it? Can't get enough of it. Don't be angry. Wait a bit, I'll make your favorite stir-fried cabbage for you. Clanty didn't respond though. But there was already a hint of softening in his eyes. And from time to time, it would lean toward Shi Ying's hand. The girl had a sudden stroke of inspiration when she saw him like this. Stepped forward and turned his face straight. Gave him a smooch on the cheek. Clanty's face instantly turned bright red. His hands fluttered nervously, unsure where to place them. What are you doing? Seeing his adorable look like this, Julian couldn't help but laugh. You're not angry anymore, right? Clanty's face was still burning red. He awkwardly turned his head away, stubbornly refusing to admit it. Who said I'm not angry? For the sake of stir-fried cabbage, I'll reluctantly forgive you this time. At this moment, Shi Ying, who had been silent all along, raised her eyes to look at the two of them. A hint of envy flashed in their eyes. Noticing Shi Ying's mood, the girl walked up to him. She leaned in and whispered a word into his ear. Hai Ying's eyes lit up, blushing and nodding. So Julian turned around and pulled Clanty back to her courtyard. The young man was a bit uneasy the whole way. Entered the courtyard with eyes darting around. I just don't dare to look at Julian. The girl was amused by his adorable appearance. You sit down first. I'll whip up some of my signature dishes for you. After saying that, she got ready to leave. But Clanty suddenly felt a bit reluctant to leave. Prince Julian stopped in his tracks upon hearing the voice. What's wrong, young man? He opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. In the end, they just softly said it was nothing. I'm going to check out the backyard vegetable garden. Julian smiled. No rush, I'll go with you to see it later. After saying that, he turned around and left the living room, heading into the kitchen. Clanty followed closely behind her, step by step. His face was beaming with joy, but still trying hard to hold back. Not letting this joy show too obviously. Tonight's dishes Arianly for me to eat. Your Highness forbids calling Shi Ying over to eat together. The youth slightly raised his chin. If you dare call him over, I'll show you what it looks like when I turn against you. The domineering tone wassled with cautious probing. It's all up to you. In no time, several delicious and visually appealing dishes are now ready. Clanty couldn't wait to pick up the chopsticks and took a bite. Wow, so delicious. After saying that, it was as if he remembered something. Then deliberately put it on a stern face. Just barely edible. Julian smacked him on the head with chopsticks. You're the only one who can talk. Shut your mouth, even food can't keep you quiet. The two of them chatted while eating. The atmosphere was still quite harmonious. After the meal, Julian took everyone straight to the backyard vegetable garden. As soon as I stepped into the vegetable garden, Clanty was stunned by the sight before his eyes. On this interstellar land, the land is barren. It's always been hard to grow anything here. But now, the vegetable seeds I sowed a few days ago have actually sprouted. Clanty snapped out of it, struggling to contain his excited emotions. Still talking tough. This also. No big deal. It's just some vegetable spritz, nothing more. Julian looked at the other person's appearance like this, laughing to oneself. I knew you'd love this vegetable garden. From now on, I'll leave it to you to take care of it, okay? The young man struggled to contain his joy. Fine, since your highness is so sincere, said the sun deer. I reluctantly agreed. After Clanty left in the evening, Shi Ying came over, and Julian just finished washing up. The damp, long hair casually draped over her shoulders. He hooked his arm around Shang's neck and pulled her down. The man was taken aback, clearly didn't expect her to be so forward. He obediently bent down and leaned close to her. Shi Ying, would you be willing to partner with me? Once he forms a partnership with her, he is completely tied to her. There's no possibility of leaving anymore. Shi Ying was emotionally agitated, and instead tightly wrapped her arms around Julian's waist. Shi Ying was originally Prince's beastman. Your Highness can do whatever you want. Hearing this, even the girl's heartbeat couldn't help but quicken a bit. The atmosphere is gradually getting better. I know you guys don't like reading this part. The sky was just beginning to lighten. Looking at the girl's sleeping face, Shi Ying's eyes were filled with adoration. He planted a kiss on Julian's forehead. He lowered his head and looked at the black phoenix mark on his body. The tone was softer than ever before. Your Highness, from now on, Shi Ying belongs only to your Highness. Julian woke up because he was hungry. She still overestimated herself. They also underestimated the fervor hidden beneath Shi Ying's cool exterior. A whole week, an entire week, Shi Ying sat quietly by the bed, gazing at her. His gaze was gentle and focused, as if Julian Wash's entire world noticed his gaze. The girl gave him a dirty look. What are you looking at? Shi Ying's lips curled slightly upwards. A faint smile appeared. Your Highness is beautiful. Gazing into the depth of affection in his eyes, the girl's heart skipped a beat for no reason. He rubbed his growling, empty stomach. Shi Ying immediately got the hint and stood up. I'll go get some food for your Highness. Before long, he returned with some exquisite dishes, carefully feeding the girl. Looking at Shi Ying treating it like a priceless treasure, Julian felt a warmth in his heart. Considering how well he served me, I've decided to give him a big gift in a while. Recently, due to the arrival of envoys from various star systems, Earth is livelier than ever. Thinking that the palace banquet is just a couple of days away, Julian took the opportunity to take his two birthday boys out for a stroll. By the way, buy them formal attire as well. The three of them walked into a shopping mall together. Clanty and Shi Ying silently followed behind her. His eyes held both anticipation and a hint of nervousness. Arriving at a high-end custom dress shop, A cat-eared boy immediately came forward to greet them, passionately recommending various styles of gowns. Julian, carefully picking out, occasionally let Clantian Shi Ying try them on. After trying on several outfits, finally picked a satisfactory dress. When choosing accessories, I heard a familiar voice. It's the female lead, Alice and her beastly husbands. I saw Julian. A hint of surprise flashed in Alice's eyes. Then he walked over with a smile and greeted me. After some politics changes between the two, Julian didn't say anything more, turned around and kept in shopping like crazy. But Alice didn't want to end the conversation just like that. She steered the conversation toward her two husbands. The dress you picked looks really nice. It suits their temperament perfectly. Hearing this, the girl put on a fake smile. You flatter me, cousin. They were outstanding in temperament. The dress is just the icing on the cake. Alice had long coveted the roles of Clanti and Shi Ying, unhappy that the two of them were assigned to Julian. Now hearing her say that made me even more furious. When one smiled, stirring up trouble with every trick in the book. They are both so outstanding. Why have you been unwilling to partner up with them for so long? Deliberately paused. There will be a sudden realization. Could it be that they have some hidden illness? Julian stopped in his tracks. His face instantly darkened. Yang, don't be mad. Your cousin is just looking out for you. If there really is some hidden illness, be sure to tell cousin. Cousin will figure out a way to help you guys. Treatment. This remark happened to be overheard by the two beastmen who were walking by. Clanti was so angry he was about to curse someone out. Julian took the lead instead. Sharp-eyed. What status do you have to boss me around? Alice wasn't afraid of her cold expression. I'm just looking out for you. If there are any issues between you two, it's best to resolve it as soon as possible. Julian let out a cold laugh. Cousin knows so much. Looks like you've got plenty of experience. Your family members were secured by you in the same way. Calling you cousin. You really think you are somebody special. You don't even know about scent masking spray. How do you have the nerve to call yourself a pharmacist? Julian is an extremely biased person who always favors his own side. Seeing our own Pio getting bullied. How can I hold it in? She just didn't want to goot and be gawked at by people. Then he sprayed himself and Shi Ying with the scent of intertwined fate. Stealth spray. It actually came in handy. Since Alice is so fond of drugging people, then let her also taste the feeling of being drugged. Watching Alice get so angry that her eyes turned red, her beast husbands corfted her by her side. Julian deliberately stepped forward with a look of surprise on his face. Oh, my cousin. What's wrong with you? Take the opportunity to sprinkle a transparent powder on her clothes. This is the truth-telling powder she just developed. Bring out the darkest side of a person's heart. Julian, you think you've won? Alice's eyes were red, full of resentment. Julian looks completely clueless. Pretend not to know why she suddenly got so pissed off. You're just relying on your princess status, that's all. If it weren't for this status, you're nothing. Julian seemed hurt by her words. The whole body was swaying unsteadily. Shi Ying supported her from behind. Cold eyes stared at Alice's contorted face. Is my cousin jealous of my status? She leaned into the comfortably brass, her face masking grievances. It's me being jealous of you. Why should you be the princess who has everything? And yet, you always manage to outshine me. Even Juzaburo coldly pick at it. You pick what's left. Why the hell should he accept this? Julian looked sympathetically at the female lead behind her. The faces of the beastmen turned pale. So you're looking down on your beast husband now? Alice has our Digon completely crazy. Keep shouting loudly. What the hell are they? Just a tool for warming bed, that's all. Julian straightened up with a cold glint in his eyes. Alice, you're wrong. Status is not the true measure of a person. You blame everything in my background. But you seem to have forgotten one thing. If I'm not a princess, not even qualified to set foot on the main star. If it weren't for a royal family granting you the title of princess, you're just an ordinary female from a remote star system. If it wasn't for my skills, are you really that kind-hearted? Alice looked at herself in horror. Words spoken out of control. She desperately tried to stop. But my mouth was completely out of control. Julian looked at Alice with a teasing gaze. Don't flatter yourself too much. If it weren't for the Empress Dowager considering that faint trace of blood relation, take good care of you and nurture you with the best resources. Thought you could make it big today. You enjoy the noble status of a princess, but they don't know how to be grateful. Instead, they felt jealousy and resentment. Shi Ying stood beside Julian. A chilling aura emanates from his body. It's not a galactic law. Do not engage in behavior that harms females. He's already made his move. Clanty didn't overthink it like he did. Seeing Alice actualize such hurtful words, the bad bitches were almost belied to tears by her. The fury in his heart was instantly ignited. He rushed to Alice in a single stride. Since you look down on the title of princess so much, you got the guts to say no, huh? Wanting it all while pretending otherwise makes you look like a big shot. Alice was startled by Clanty's imposing presence. Face turned pale. Her beastly husbands hurried forward to try and stop Clanty. But Clanty completely ignored their attempts to stop him, still firing off insults over a few people's heads. What part of you can't compare to our young master? Is the pharmacintern very skilled? The things we've researched are anything compared to His Highness. The effect of casually discarded finished products is surprisingly good. How dare you say you admire your own abilities? Alice's beast husbands looked at each other in bewilderment. I don't know what to do. The female lead was also trembling with anger because of Clanty. Tears welled up in the eyes. Why are you still trying to scam people? Saying I bullied you. Clanty is immune to her tears, crying at the drop of a hat. It's annoying at first glance. Bad bitches don't cry. Julian cleared his throat lightly, indicating for Clanty to step back. The young man was speaking up for her out of a sense of injustice. But this era has very low tolerance for ORCs. Let him keep talking. Then it'll be his turn to get scolded. Clanty still hasn't finished venting his anger, but still obediently shut his mouth. Back to the girl's side. The beastly men fear deceiving their master. Say anything else that's shocking or outrageous. One quickly steps forward to cover her mouth, but got slapped by her a few times. Another stepped forward, knelt down, and apologized to Julian. Your Highness, please forgive me. Our princess wasn't feeling well today and said things she didn't mean. Please forgive my ignorance and overlook my mistakes. Forgive her nonsense. They are Alice's beast husbands. If something happens to Alice, they won't survive either. Watching the beastly husband kneeling and begging for mercy, Julian's expression softened slightly. Fine, for your sake. I can let today's matter slide for now. Everyone knelt together to express their gratitude. Who gave you the right to make decisions for me? Alice was so ashamed and angry that my face turned completely red. Opened his mouth ready to keep cursing. The tall, skinny man quickly covered her mouth with his hand. He leaned close to her ear and whispered words of comfort. The future is long, my wife. Don't pay any more attention to it. Several people, including Julian, settled the bill and left. But today's incident was filmed by someone with ulterior motives and posted on the Starnet. The video was taken down very quickly, but quite a few people still kept them. Even the Emperor and Queen saw it. The Queen was so angry her eyes turned red. Originally, it was because she seemed well-behaved and sensible. It's for the sake of distant relatives again. Gave her the title of princess. Let her be a playmate for her own daughter. Their daily food, clothing, and expenses are treated with the same care as their most treasured possessions. But I didn't expect to put in so much effort only to raise an ungrateful wretch. The king and queen sat in the palace, face gloomy. Julian stood to the side. eyes slightly red. The distressed queen held her tightly in her arms. Your Majesty saw his Belvedere being wronged, slamming the table in anger. By the Emperor's decree, summon Princess Alice at once. Julian said softly. Father and mother, don't ruin your health over her. Maybe cousin just had a momentary lapse in judgment. The queen's willow-leafy eyebrows shot up in anger. She's not just being clueless. Clearly a wolf's heart with wild ambitions, enjoying the royal favor. Yet they don't know how to be grateful. Still jealous of you. Julian lowered his head and dropped his gaze, holding back theater in their eyes. The queen saw her like this. Thought she was broken over sisterhood. Holding Julian tightly, softly comforting Yung, telling her not to be sad. Your Majesty also gently patted his daughter's head. Don't be afraid, Yang. With the king and queen here, I won't let annully you again. Before long, Alice was brought into the palace. She looked flustered. He also realized he had caused a huge disaster. With a thud, she knelt before her aunt. Uncle and aunt. Alice knows she was wrong. Please forgive him, uncle and aunt. I shouldn't have said such blasphemous words. You shouldn't have disrespected your cousin either. Alice knew she was in the wrong. Shouldn't let jealousy cloud your judgment. Uncle and aunt. For old time's sake, spare Alice this time. His Majesty was furious beyond measure. Past affections. You don't know how to be grateful. What kind of affection could there be to speak of? I remember you as a distant relative. Grant you the title of princess. Let you accompany the princess. Yet this is how you pay my kindness. From today onwards, depriving you of your princess status. 3 days later, deport back to the remote star system. Alice was thunderstruck, collapsed to the ground. She finally managed to escape from that remote backwater planet. How could I be willing to be sent back after crawling my way out? She kept kowtowing and begging for mercy with tears streaming down her face. Your Majesty, Queen, please give me one more chance. I know I was wrong. Yet your Majesty remained unmoved. I've given you a chance. You knew it was wrong, but did it anyway, so you must face the consequences. She turned to the queen again. Her aunt usually doted on her the most. But this time, the queen was utterly disappointed in her. Not even willing to give her a glance. Taking Julian into the inner room, Alice was escorted back to the princess's residence. In order not to disrupt the normal proceedings of the palace banquet. It hasn't been exposed yet. But the word is already out in the industry. Alice begged many people, including those suitors they once looked down on. But this time, His Majesty the Emperor issued a strict order. Who dares to plead for her? So they were both assigned a remote branch together. So no one dared to stick their neck out. In the end, it was Alice's master pharmacist who stepped in to plead for mercy. The latest projectus at a critical stage. Alice's departure. It will greatly impact their search as a reason for the appeal. This project is crucial to the lives and future of the border troops. Old Chen really couldn't bear to see Alice's mistakes, and the project has come to a standstill. The Queen showed a hint of hesitation. Alice is indeed involved in an important research project. After seeing the land, the two of them became more flexible in their stance. Count Earl pressed the advantage and pursued relentlessly. Please show mercy, Your Majesty and the Queen. Give her another chance. Let her redeem herself by performing meritorious service. I am willing to stake me reputation on it. If Alice engages in any further misconduct, the old minister is willing to bear the punishment with her. Your Majesty fell silent for a moment. I'll do it just for you, Earl, out of respect. I take back my words of deportation. But if it happens again, they will be severely punished without leniency. The young Earl felt a weight lift from his heart. He hurriedly bowed again to express his thanks. In the end, Alice was only stripped of her princess title, stripped the princess of all her honors and privileges. Julian also knew the female lead wasn't that simple. Knocking her down this time is just to teach her a lesson. She also knew her father the king and mother the queen. It's not really about sending Alice back, just testing Counter's attitude. Back then, they had Alice apprentice to learn potion making. The plan is to hand over the Pharmaceutical Institute to her in the future. But I never expected to Rasic an ungrateful wretch. In recent years, the people at the Pharmaceutical Research Institute are increasingly looking down on the royal family. All they rely on is nothing but Count Earl. He is the most talented potion professor in potion making, the most skilled pharmacist. It won't be long now. Shi Ying stood by her side, slightly bowing the head. Your Highness, Alice really got short end of the stick this time. But given her temperament, they probably won't let it go easily. Julian slightly raised his chin. A hint of cunning shone through the light. The palace banquet about to begin. She was even a little excited to see how Alice would perform. Suffered such a great injustice. Believe she won't let her down. Shi Ying moved slightly closer to Julian. He reached out and gently straightened the girl's hair. The disheveled strands caught Julian off guard. A blush spread across her cheeks. Shi Ying is getting better and better at flirting. Looking at the girl's reaction, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Your Highness, rest assured. With Shi Ying around, I will never give her the chance to harm your Highness. Julian cleared his throat lightly. Hiding their discomfort, Clanty watched the two of them, completely oblivious to their surroundings. I feel a bit choked up inside. He is also her beast husband. But the girl's gaze remained fixed only on Shi Ying. He's also very impressive. Can also protect her. Noticing the change in Clanty's mood, Julian turned his head to look at him. The young man pressed his lips tightly together. His eyes held a hint of grievance and unwillingness. Her heart skipped a beat. Ash turned and said to Shi Ying, Shi Ying, you go back first. I have so thing to say to Clanty. The man was slightly taken aback. A strange glint flashed through those violet eyes. But he quickly regained his composure. After paying respectful respects, he turned and left. As he left, he couldn't help but glance back at the two of them. I understand completely. The mere thought of that possibility made Clanty. The anticipation in his eyes was impossible to hide. Looking at his cute little face, Julian's lips curled slightly. Clanty, you're so annoying. Do you know why I kept only you behind? The young man sat up straight. He then pretended to stay calm and snorted. How would I know? But the girl suddenly grabbed at his collar and yanked him down. Forced to bend down and meet her gaze. Eyes meet. Julian leaned in close and whispered something into his ear. The startled boy widened his eyes in shock. I almost thought I misheard. Then came an overwhelming surge of joy. Are you really going to marry me, you donkey? Julian nodded slightly, turned around and headed upstairs to the room. Seeing this, Clanty quickly followed. My heart is filled with excitement and anticipation. But I was so nervous my heart was about to jump out of my throat. He learned so much in the computer. But I still don't know how to use it. Arrived at the room, Julian looked at the nervous figure standing nearby with a smile in his eyes. Clanty didn't know where to put his hands and feet. Beads of sweat even broke out on his forehead. Clanty, don't be nervous. The other person took a deep breath. Try to calm yourself down. But the voice was still a bit shaky. I'm not nervous at all. The girl slightly waved her hand, signaling him to come closer. Come here, Michu. Listening to her teasing words, Clanty's face instantly turned red. Whether it was out of embarrassment or anger, no one could tell. To prove that he wasn't nervous at all, very experienced, he slowly walked closer. He crouched down and held the girl's hand. But his face remained calm. His hand trembled slightly. Julian gripped his hand in return. Pull him forward. The distance between the two suddenly closed. Clanty was so nervous couldn't speak. It made the girl laugh. Don't worry, relax. You're so adorable. She patiently and gently taught. But Clanty was still scared shitless. He really doesn't know how. Last time something like that happened, he never dared to hope that this wicked female would be willing to mate with him. Julian looked at this sorry state. An inexplicable joy in my heart. A blank sheet of paper slowly takes on her colors. Just thinking about it gets me excited. She must teach this Cinderella Brahmini kite properly. The result is just wearing myself out again. Give that shameless half-dead bastard a piece of my mind. Still had the nerve to ask her. Is he stronger or is she ying stronger? Julian just wants to rest and Do isn't want to deal with him. One slap down. He immediately behaved himself, but the young man wasn't by that slap. He stared blankly at Julian. In his eyes, there was both grievance and a hint of regret. I don't know if Julian is mad at him. I kept tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep, feeling the slight movement beside me. A hint of helplessness welled up in the girl's heart. Clanty, can you shut the hell up? Noticing the girl's fatigue and displeasure. Scared, Clanty immediately turning over. His expression was full of panic. Afraid the next sentence will be to kick him out. Carefully reaching out a hand. Holding Julian's hand. I'm sorry, I won't ask again then. Don't be angry. Listening to his trembling voice, Julian's heart felt tender and sour. Alright, you're the best. Alright, shut up and go to sleep already. Clanty gave a soft thumb in response. Lie down quietly and stop moving around. Make sure she's really asleep. I carefully moved closer to him. The next day, when I woke up, Clanty is no longer in the room. She went downstairs just in time to see Leo Wu with dark circles under his eyes, standing downstairs waiting for her. Couldn't help but ask what you were up to last night. The dark circles under your eyes are so dark. Leo Wu was the most loyal bodyguard by the original master's side. In the original plot, he discovered that the original owner was imprisoned and tortured. I tried several times to save her, but didn't succeed, and was even be attento serious injury. During his recovery, he received news of the princess's passing. He rushed out like a madman to seek revenge on those guys. Ended up dying miserably. Julian's gaze at him was somewhat complicated. Leo Wu's eyes gleamed. He was forced to eavesdrop for several nights. Almost stayed awake until dawn. Leo Wu is fine. Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. Wait until Julian finishes fast before speaking. That mermaid is making a fuss about wanting to see Your Highness. Julian slightly raised his eyebrows. She almost forgot about this person. Arriving at the courtyard where Ryan lives, from outside the door, the sound of freppiated banging could be heard inside. Open the door and there's that bitch. The fish is slapping the fish tank with all its might. What are you making a fuss about again? I see, Julian. A flicker of delight flashed in Ryan's eyes. He stopped flapping and swam to the edge of the fish tank. Looking pitiful and speaking up. Zeiss hasn't come to see Ryan in a long time. Haven't finished speaking yet? I could smell the stench of a skaven on him right away. The light in his eyes dimmed slightly. Ryan lowered his eyes, concealing the emotions in his eyes. Looking up again, there was that same pitiful expression. Does Zeiss not like Ryan anymore? The other party seemed deeply wrong. Julian slightly frowned. Don't overthink it. I've been a bit busy these days. Ryan wouldn't let it go. Ziv is lying. Ziv must have caught a new fish. I just don't want Ryan anymore. Stop playing the victim. This princess isn't buying it. Go ahead. What exact lie do you need from me? Ryan bit his lip. Seems to be hesitating about something. After a while, I finally mustered the courage to speak. Zivrian, can you go out? Julian became wary. Her first thought was that this little bitch was trying to run away. With a smile on his face, heist, isn't this place good? Ryan shook his head. This place is nice, but can't see Ziv. Ryan wants to see Ziv every day. Ryan shrank back, hands gripping the edge of the fish tank, staring intently. Julian's eyes were reddening. Ryan doesn't want to stay here alone, blaming himself. Ryan really wants to go out. His voice trembled slightly. With endless grievances. Is Z really not fond of Ryan anymore? Otherwise, why would they lock Ryan up here? Looking at Ryan's pitiful appearance, the girl's vigilance gradually faded away. She reached out and gently touched Ryan's head. Alright, don't be sad anymore. As long as you behave yourself, I'll take you out in a couple of days. A glint of triumph flashed in Ryan's eyes. But it was quickly concealed by him again. She obediently nodded and said, Ryan will definitively and listen. Can I have dinner with Zeiss today? Ryan's injuries have completely healed. The lower body's fishtail transformed into legs as she stepped out of the tank. Her long hair barely covered it. This made the girl's cheeks flush slightly, quickly throwing the nearby robe to Ryan. The mermaid took the robe. A faint, barely noticeable smile curled at the corners of his lips. Obediently draping the robe over oneself. You're blaming yourself. How shy of you. His voice carried a hint of teasing. The girl gave a light cough, covering up the awkwardness. Don't talk nonsense, it's just that you're being inappropriate. Ryan stood there obediently. The eyes are filled with anticipation. Did Ziv agree to have dinner with me? Julian looked at this sorry state, softened at heart. Alright, but you have promised to behave. Ryan laughed happily. Eyes seemed to shimmer with stars. Julian fiddled with light brain. Give the kitchen their orders. Have them bring dinner to Ryan here. Ryan kept pestering her to talk about things on this planet. Before I knew it, it was dinner time. Arrived at the restaurant. Ryan thoughtfully pulled out the chair for Julian. After she sat down, I sat right across from her. During the meal, Ryan kept glancing at Julian from time to time. Her eyes were filled with tenderness. The food here is so damn good. But in his heart, he was thinking, I wonder how Ziv tastes. Julian looked up and was about to speak. But then I met his deep blue ocean-like eyes. Her eyes shimmered as if filled with flowing light. Irresistible. Fell in love at first sight. The mermaid leaned forward. His gaze locked onto the girl. Suddenly, Julian felt a wave of dizziness wash over his mind. The vigilance in my heart melted amidst his deep affection and longing, gradually falling apart. Her consciousness began to blur. Ryan's voice was like heavenly music to her ears. Zeiss, you are the most important person in my life. As long as you're by my side, I'm willing to do anything. His words were like a gentle enchantment. Zeiss, Ryan is the one who loves you the most in this world. Julian's gaze became distant, as if everything was forgotten. All I see is Ryan's flawless face. Blame myself. Shall we make a pact? Julian really wanted to say no, but her body wouldn't obey. Just about to nod in agreement, she bit her tongue hard. Regain a shred of clarity. With a sharp gaze, Hestered at the little mermaid. Ryan, who gave you the nerve? How dare you use seduction on this princess? Julian's voice was as cold as ice. Ryan felt a flicker of panic. But soon, he reverted back to that innocent look. ZZ, what are you talking about? Ryan doesn't understand. He tried to keep using his seductive tricks, but Julian was already on guard. This time I didn't fall for it. Since it's been restored, then just leave on your own, Julian said. He didn't even look back as he turned to leave. Ryan saw this. He hurried forward and grabbed her by the arm. Ziv, don't go. Ryan knows he was wrong. His voice carried a hint of pleading. Julian forcefully shook off his hand. Left the restaurant with it, looking back. This time, she wasn't worried about him leaving anyone. The mother planet is searching everywhere for the only descendant of the Mermaid King. If he's not stupid, he'll obediently stay. Julian just walked out off the hospital gate. Just met Clanty's resentful gaze. The way he looks at her ice like looking at a piece of trash. Julian was instantly embarrassed. The palace banquet arrived soon. On this day, Julian was dressed in fine attire, accompanied by two equally well-dressed birthday boys, riding a luxurious airship towards the imperial palace. Unexpectedly, a hover car came speeding toward us from ahead. Colliding air currents, the airship suddenly sped up. The juice in my hand spilled quite a bit on her clothes. Clanty and Shi Ying quickly stepped forward to show their concern. Ask if she's hurt. Your Highness, there's a Bloodwolf emblem on the aircraft. Need to track? Liu Wu's voice came from the driver's seat. Julian paused in the middle of wiping. In the entire galaxy, only that one person can use the Bloodwolf emblem. No need to butt in while they're talking. The airship has stopped at the entrance of the mansion. Julian had no choice but to take out the spare formal attire. Get off first and wait for me. Shi Ying glanced at the dress in her hand. This outfit is even more complicated than the one I'm wearing. Your Highness, this outfit might be difficult to put on alone. Shi Ying stayed behind to help. Clanty didn't say a word. Got off the airship first. Only realized after standing outside. How did I obediently get off the airship just like that? Performed the charmant death of Shi Ying. Didn't wait long. A group of people was approaching majestically up ahead. Clanty glanced over. Gaze fixed intently. It's the envoy delegation from Feyuxing. At the forefront was the eldest prince of Feyuxing. Miang saw Clanty standing outside the airship. A malicious smirk curled at the corner of his mouth. Isn't this my third brother who wasn't here for a political marriage? Why are you standing outside alone? Is it Beko Sio not favored? Clanty tightly pursed his lips. Marcus retorted. Don't go too far. I am now the princess's person. You're not someone they can just push around. Marcus burst into laughter. Just based on you, an unloved political marriage tool. How dare you challenge me? The princess just sees you as a plaything. You never know when you'll get dumped. The envoy of Feyuxing Galso chimed in from the side. The angry young man was trembling all over like a coward. You're talking nonsense. Hishiness would never abandon me. He looked furious. Marcus is even more pleased with himself. Clanty, you'd better know what's good for you. Come here and kowtow to apologize properly. I can still put in a good word for you at the banquet. Clanty didn't hold back, and spat out a pah in disdain. Marcus was so angry his face turned ashen, pointing at the young man and shouting angrily, You reckless fool! Don't forget your father is still on Flying Fish Star. If you make this prince unhappy, he's going to suffer some physical pain. Clanty's face instantly turned pale. If you dare lay a finger on my father, I will never let you off the hook. Marcus smugly curled the corner of his lips. Won't let me off. Do you really think you have what it takes right now? You're nothing but a pathetic parasite, clinging to the princess. Clanty clenched his fists tightly. My heart is filled with anger and helplessness. His father was once the most favored son-in-law on Flying Fish Star. Later, he got injured and disfigured while trying to save his mother, but got rejected. A worthless wretch who has fallen so low that even servants can bully him at will. He initially agreed to come for the marriage alliance, just so Dad can live a little better. He is trying hard to suppress his emotions. The airship's door suddenly opened. Julian walked out gracefully in dazzling, magnificent attire. That outfit instantly captured Devrion's attention in the room. Marcus stared at the girl with a lovesick gaze. His eyes were filled with awe and admiration, seeing Clanty trembling with rage. You knew you were being bullied. Julian walked up to him with a cold gaze, looking at the pure pleasure surrounding the young man. On my turf, bullying my people. Flying Fish Starist truly impressive. Marcus snapped out of it. A flattering smiley appeared on his face. Your Highness the Princess. It was just a misunderstanding earlier. Julian snorted coldly, misunderstanding how this princess sees it. You deliberately caused trouble for my side, husband. looking at Julian standing in front of me. A warm current surged in the young man's heart. He has someone to protect him now. Julian turned to look at Clanty. They scold you. You don't know how to curse back? The young man lowered his head, somewhat ashamed. I'm afraid I might cause trouble for you. The princess is here. What are you afraid of? They're scolding you. You just scolded me back fiercely. Clanty raised his head. His eyes gleamed with an unusual light. Good, that's more like it. Remember, you now have this princess as your backer. Don't be afraid of them. If they dare to lay a finger on you, hit them back for me. As long as it doesn't kill me. This princess can cover your ass no matter what. Clanty is moved, nodding vigorously. Julian was finally satisfied. Marcus, right? This princess will remember what happened today. If you dare to cause trouble for Clanty again, then don't blame this princess for not being polite. If it weren't for Thepola's banquet about to begin, she really wants to teach him a lesson. After saying that, he led Shufu and the others into the Imperial Palace. Today's Imperial Palace is exceptionally magnificent and grand. The envoys from various planets and the powerful nobles from prominent families, all dressed in their finest attire. Julian brought Clantian Shi Ying along. Under the gaze of the crowd, gracefully and composedly shulked towards her designated spot. The banquet begins. The envoys from various planets stepped forward one after another to present their tributes. The atmosphere at the banquet grew increasingly lively. They shared the cultures of their own planets with each other and technological achievements to demonstrate the strength of the imperial royal family, and also to make Alice famous. Pharmaceutical Research Institute Director Count Earl. Take out the medicine they developed. This potion is the result of the hard work of many elite experts in our institution. Developed tirelessly without rest. It can affect developers 60% of insect venom. At the moment, it can save countless lives. The dangers of Zerg toxins are well known to everyone. Once you're tainted by it, at worst, their mentalcia will be damaged. Serious cases may result in death. No galaxy has yet developed an antidote. Suppressing 60% is already an astonishing breakthrough. Your Majesty's eyes were filled with admiration. All right, you absolutely deserve a generous reward. After thanking the Count, he made ashore to spread Alice's fame far and wide. The successful of this drug. Alice deserves all the credit. As soon as he said this, everyone's gaze toward Alice changed. All couldn't help but marvel at his reputation as a genius. And the potion was passed errand for everyone to admire. It quickly reached Julian's hands. She casually toyed with it in her hand. 60% is indeed not bad. But it's still far worse than what she previously gave Evan Zhao. She casually tossed it Shi Ying beside her. Give you 1 minute to analyze the main ingredients inside. Guess right and get a reward. But her action was seen by others looking down on the potion. Instantly, everyone looked either with displeasure in their eyes. Julian's expression remained calm and composed. Shi Ying didn't pay any attention to the disdain around her. Obediently following the girl's instructions, he opened the medicine bottle. He brought it up to his nose and sniffed. At this moment, the envoy from the subsidiary planet, unable to suppress the anger in my heart, with the meaning of Ziv, Hezade, Your Highness, the princess. This medicine is of great significance. It is truly inappropriate for you to be so dismissive. This is the fruit of countless research hard work. The safety of countless lives is at stake. Julian slightly raised his eyes. Her gaze is cold and detached. This princess doesn't see anything wrong with it. This potion may be priceless in your eyes, but in this princess's, it's nothing special. Upon hearing this, everyone gasped in shock, shocked by Julian's arrogance. Alice, as if they had caught Julian red-handed. A flicker of excitement flashed in his eyes. Julian, that idiot reality let her down. She raised Herkin and demanded, Your Highness, this is them looking down in the medicine we developed. Could it be that the princess has a better idea? Still looking down